Guys, Wade from 7 p.m. prayer, working in one more tailgate talk before Ranger and I hit the road. You can see she's itching to get going right after she lays down and takes a nap over there. But anyway, and it's definitely a dog day of summer here. So today my lesson I wanted to talk about was just that next chapter in the Andrew Murray book on prayer. And this one, ironically, was kind of about our prayer as it relates to the destiny of humanity. Sounds pretty important, and it really is. I think that we've gotten so accustomed to kind of thinking of prayer as something we do relative to an individual issue that comes up here or there, something we get nervous about or scared about or whatever. I'm not saying we all do that all the time. Plenty of people pray about things going on in the world and such, but I think in many ways prayer has been used on the whole by Christianity to, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, kind of put God at our service in terms of what we want personally. It's a lot easier to pray about that than it is to focus on other people. And this is another one of those examples of where God's always trying to help us out, and that if we can use prayer the way it was intended, which is to change the course of humanity, which is to put our abilities as the son or daughter of God to work and requesting things from him to make a difference in the world. And we all know that that doesn't mean you pray for the whole world all the time. A lot of times big changes can take place just by praying for something good to happen to someone you know. It's astounding to me, what can happen with just one person's interaction with another. And so, therefore, there are times when it is good to pray for yourself and your own situations. You know those situations better than anybody else. And in many cases, like I've talked about here before, if we look at most people, most people don't have a handful of people praying for them. So when you decide to pray for somebody, it's huge. You may be the only person praying for that person in the whole world. So, and if let's pretend both their parents and a sibling are praying for them. Okay, so now there's 4 of you, out of 8 billion people, they need you. So I think that the focus today that I wanted us to come away with on this, and remember, I'm speaking to myself here too, is that we have a chance to really make a difference with prayer. This isn't some kind of, small task. God put it to work and put it to work and put it to work in the Bible so that we would take it serious and so that we would actually be the hands and feet of God. I really think that things get done or don't get done based on whether or not we pray for them and pray about them. We've got our free will down here. So if we don't pray about stuff, God just doesn't automatically stick his nose in our business. He doesn't just automatically decide, I'm going to do this. He has an overarching plan, but on a day-to-day basis with individual people on individual matters and given our free will, if you don't ask for him to step in there and do his part, then he's going to let the cards fall where they may in many cases if it doesn't affect his overall, situation relative to other things that have to happen. So I also think that even if it is something that's destined to happen, the timing of it can be changed. The shape of it can be changed. So I think, for example, all of us, have asked ourselves at time, we read those things in the Bible about, the second coming of Christ is soon, and this is 2,000 years ago. In our mind, that doesn't seem soon at all. There's been tons of generations since then. But I think that, if we could sit God down and just say, hey, was that 2,000 year thing always part of the program? I think there's a decent chance he might say, well, it was one of the options, but if you guys would have done this, 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 and this, and prayed fervently about this and this, then it actually would have only taken 300 years or 150, or, in the view of some of the apostles and such, they were expecting it in their lifetime. Maybe that was one of the options. Certainly I think that there was an option in there when Jesus came and presented the kingdom to the people. If they had accepted him right then and there and not turned away and had the Pharisees, do what they did to him, then I think that there is a possibility that existed out there that Jesus could have taken over spiritually right then and there. So again, I'm not a theologian and don't want to be. So I'm just saying, I think God gives us a lot of options, and when we find that we're not happy with the current option, I think that a lot of times that's because we aren't doing our part in prayer, and God didn't just throw that out there to be taken lightly. He wants us to do something with it. So let's start doing something with it. Like I've said, at 7 p.m. tonight, let's all pray together for all these different matters. Matters of your family, matters of your community, matters of your life, matters in the world. Pray fervently about all of them, and let's all of us Christians, no matter what our background and doctrine, we're followers of Christ. We're going to pray together and we're going to make things happen. I appreciate you guys.